Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Me, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. Early leaks for our upcoming chapter 1076 of One Piece has just dropped. So in today's video, we're going to take some time and talk about all of the early leaks and what it might be foreshadowing in our upcoming chapter of One Piece. As we always like to remind all of our wonderful viewers, please keep in mind that these are just leaks and early ones at that. So when the official comes out, things might be pronounced or even stated in a different way, or certain scenes might even be in a different order. So please take what we're about to cover with a grain of salt. Also, be sure to stay tuned to the channel because as more and more of these leaks are released, we're going to be sure to bring you another video to keep you up to date on everything that's happening in this wonderful and amazing final saga of One Piece. But before we dive into the video, if you're new to the channel or even if you've watched a bunch of our videos, we'd be absolutely honored if you'd leave us a like and even subscribe and maybe leave us a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out, especially with that old YouTube algorithm, and it continues to motivate us to make more content. If you'd like to help out the channel in a bigger way, consider sharing this video or another one of your favorites with a friend. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So my friends, the chapter picks up right where we left off, where Zoro hears Nami's scream in the distance. So he says that they all need to protect the Vegapunks and help their mates out as well. Luffy and Zoro then decide that they need to finish the fight against the Seraphim quickly, so they really can't keep carrying two CP0 agents around with them. Kaku asks Luffy to let them go, and if they manage to defeat the Seraphim and get out of this big mess alive, he would let Luffy handcuff them again, giving his word that he will not try to escape even after they defeat the Seraphim, who seem to be acting on their own, or at least under somebody else's orders. Luffy then asks Rob Lucci that once they finish the fight against the Seraphim, that the agent will not try to defeat him or his companions, or even the rest of the Vegapunks, just because Lucci is not able to defeat him. Lucci replies that he won't do anything against Luffy's allies or his companions, as Lucci's real goal was to take Luffy's life, and it's only when he's finally managed to take Luffy's life would he go after his comrades to take their lives as well. Shaka then hands the handcuff key over to Luffy, saying that Luffy is free to do whatever he wants as long as he ensures Stella's safety, referring of course to the original Vegapunk, as keeping him safe is everyone's primary objective. So Luffy frees Lucci and Kaku, although Zoro does not trust them one bit. So the group forms pairs to be able to face off the Seraphim together, and this way they manage to end the fight much faster. Lucci and Luffy decide to square off against S-Bear, while Zoro and Kaku fight S-Hawk, each duo fighting a different Seraphim so the fight is balanced and that the Seraphim don't have the opportunity to cause even greater destruction. In the battle, Luffy decides to use Gear 4th so he doesn't get tired too much during the match, and Lucci just uses his normal hybrid form so he doesn't wear out his body too much either. And as we've seen, the awakened form tends to leave the user completely exhausted and unable to fight at least for a little while. In the other team, Kaku decides not to transform because with his human form he's going to have a much easier ability to move around during combat. But as Kaku and Zoro confront Seraphim S-Hawk, he's shown to possess the power of a devil fruit, the Supa Supa no Mi, giving his body the characteristics of steel, in addition to being able to make steel blades from his body. On what promises to be an amazing double-page spread, it's possible to see that Luffy and Lucci and Zoro and Kaku use combined attacks against S-Bear and S-Hawk. Powerful attacks in which they provide an incredible scene of this union of these two groups that we would never have ever imagined to see fighting together. In this scene, we see Luffy using his Gomu Gomu no Mi Kangan, we see Lucci using his Roku Ogan, Zoro his Rengoku Onigiri, and Kaku his Ranyaku Hakurai, causing the Seraphim to be completely destroyed, and several parts of the body are thrown in multiple directions. Next, the scene changes to where the real Vegapunk is, and we see him waking up in a secret prison inside the lab. Now, Vegapunk is an old man again, but he seems to be injured and in chains, and looks very exhausted and confused. It turns out that Vegapunk is stuck with some Cypher Pole agents who went missing some time ago, which Lucci inquired about during his application for entry into Egghead, and it's possible to see CP5, CP7, and even CP8 agents along with Vegapunk in this prison area. Vegapunk wonders how he ends up in prison and also says that it's really curious how his poneglyph research was leaked to the world government, demonstrating that the Vegapunk that is with Bonnie is not the real one, but an imposter. This means that there are two Vegapunks on Egghead Island, so the other one could be a clone or even a person with the ability to change their appearance like Katarina Devon, who has that Zoan fruit capable of changing her appearance. We then see the scene change to the Navy, and we see some sailors talking to each other, and we can hear some different communications from different Navy bases, saying that over 100 ships are on their way to Egghead Island. It is also mentioned that many are close to arriving on the island to start a great battle, a conflict which will be one of the biggest in One Piece so far. We see several Marines and even Admiral and the Gorosei are going to this island to confront the Straw Hats and Vegapunk. Now, not only does this show this how important this meeting of the Straw Hats and Vegapunk is, it also shows how high up on the priority list catalyst it is for the world government, because they've sent pretty much any and every Navy ship they have, plus an admiral and a gorosei. So we can absolutely expect a lot from this fight, where we're going to see incredible different matchups, which could bring an amazing and unexpected outcome to the end of this arc, or just an end to the confrontations on Egghead, and then more fights to follow later. The scene then changes again, and we are now taken to Elba, the island of the giants' homeland, and it's shown that there is a bar located near the coast, being a perfect place for pirates and even some other visitors who don't want to approach the center of the island where the giants' kingdom is located. Sitting and having a drink inside the bar are none other than Shanks and the red-haired pirates. And we see a really great callback scene where a giant boy asks Shanks if he can come on board and join his crew, but Shanks turns him down. Of course, making a reference to the very first chapter of One Piece, where Luffy begs Shanks to become a part of his pirate crew. The owner of the bar then tells the giant boy to give up, since it would be very difficult for him to join a crew of powerful pirates, especially a Yonko crew, because to allow such a young boy with no skills to join would be really quite irresponsible. The scene then zooms out, and we see that there are some ships from the red-haired pirates' fleet are near the island, and they inform Shanks that the kid pirates are approaching Elba. Now, upon learning this information, the main pirates of Shanks' crew begin to talk about this very topic. Ben Beckman says that Kid is probably still really angry about what they did the last time they saw him, and Lucky Roo questions Ben Beckman, asking him who Kid will want to get to the quickest. This could be alluding to the fact that Ben Beckman may be the one responsible for cutting off Kid's arm, making sense for Kid to have much more anger towards Ben than Shanks, although apparently Kid may not really know who's responsible for taking his arm. Shanks replies that it looks like he spent a lot of time talking, but this wasn't something that he could help because he ran into some old friends that he thought had died. So Shanks gets up from the table and continues saying that he doesn't want to cause too much damage to the place, so he's gonna leave so he doesn't end up destroying anything. But before leaving, he asks Dory and Broggy if they can help him. On another double page spread, we can see that the red-haired pirates are drinking with none other than Broggy, Dory, Carsey, Oimo, and other extremely powerful giants. And we can see that they all really appreciate Shanks and consider him a great friend. Dory and Broggy even say that they are glad to help Shanks in this confrontation against Kid's pirates. Then they get up and accompany Shanks to exit the bar, preparing for the competition that is yet to come. Next, Shanks tells Rockstar to go ahead and deliver a message to Kid, a very important message to know what the fate of this meeting will be if they were to cross paths on Elbaf. Shanks continues and tells Rockstar to tell Kid that he can either fight his crew right now, or he can surrender and hand over the road poneglyph rubbings that he managed to acquire in Wano and then leave peacefully with his life. This demonstrates that Shanks really is interested in finding the One Piece, doing practically the same strategy that Teach did after the end of Wano, waiting for one of the three pirates who participated in the confrontation on Wano in one of the three closest islands to find them and get information from the road poneglyphs. The scene then pulls out where we see the Kid Pirates ship fighting against some of Shanks' fleet, and Killer starts talking to his captain Kid about what they're gonna do now that they're facing off against a Yonko crew, especially considering that Shanks is that Yonko. Killer continues by saying that during their previous fight that they had with the crew, Kid wasn't even able to see Shanks' face, clearly demonstrating that Kid might not have seen who was responsible for taking his arm. I mean, after all, he may have just assumed that Shanks would have been the one who took his arm off. Killer goes on and further presses his captain by saying that if they continue to advance towards Shanks, that this time Kid might not just lose an arm, hinting that Kid could lose his life if he decided to confront Shanks again. But with a big smile on his face, Kid says that they can worry about it if they actually lose the match against Shanks again. So then he continues advancing towards Elba while attacking Shanks' pirates. The chapter ends with Shanks walking towards the shore with other captains cheering him on, thus starting a fight between the crew of Kid and Shanks, which may decide the crew that will be able to advance on in their search for the One Piece treasure. So that, my friends, brings us to the end of the initial leaks of chapter 1076 of One Piece. And now that we've covered all that, we'd love to know what you think about it. First, who do you think this imposter is? Could it be somebody like Katarina Devon or a different person? But who do you think it is impersonating the other Vegapunk? Secondly, what do you think's gonna happen now that the Navy is nearly at Egghead Island? And also, what are your thoughts about how the Straw Hats and Vegapunk and the rest are gonna escape, considering they're gonna be surrounded? And finally, finally, how do you think this battle between Kid and Shanks is going to turn out? Do you think that Shanks might be able to turn it around, or might we get to see a little bit of this villain side that has been kind of speculated around the community? And also, were you as excited as some of us were to hear that Dory and Broggy are coming back and making a reappearance? I mean, we really haven't seen these two wonderful giants since Littleguard, and they would be the absolutely perfect key to introduce Usopp to the rest of the island and help him get even closer to that dream of being a brave warrior of the sea. Let us know what you think about it in the comments below. So as we wrap up our video for the day, we would like to thank you all so much for watching the video, especially those of you who've made it here to the very end. Be sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, give us a like and hit that red subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. I hope to see you all in our next video. Let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.